All right, all you E60 guys, the video you've been waiting for. This is the reliability video for the BMW E60. All right, so here's my E60. It's currently broken. You can see it's got some bugs on it too. A lot of bugs on it from last time I drove it. Many things on this car that can cause you reliability issues. Let's go and open the hood first, and we'll start with that. All right, so let's go mechanical first, and then we'll do interior and then exterior cosmetic. Bunch of things here, and I see that it's still seeping oil. It's just the N52 life. You know, I really don't know. It's just these things like to seep oil from the valve cover, from the Vanos solenoids. It seems like there's really not much you could do about it. Never leaks, it just seeps. And apparently even from the power steering reservoir, which has just been replaced, that's leaking. That's sweet. So we'll start out with the top valve cover. The valve covers like to crack on these. This one is new, still leaking. The coil packs, you know, just all the average N52 stuff. Get out of there. And this one's leaking around the oil fill cap, also seeping. So yeah, like I said, the coil packs, these are kind of known to go bad. Not as common to be eccentric shaft sensor and eccentric shaft motor. Luckily on N52, all the PCV is built into the valve cover, and usually they're not too much of a worry. By the time those go bad, usually the valve cover is bad anyway. We had to do expansion tank on this car. That's not probably as common, but maybe it is. I already got my hand all dirty. This car has 92,000 miles on it, and at 92,000 miles, it pretty much needed everything twice. Oil filter housing gasket, done. Oil pan gasket, done. These N52s, usually the throttle body boot doesn't go bad. They're made more of a hard plastic. They aren't a rubber. They don't seem to disintegrate near as bad. Also on these and the E90s both, the starter, on most BMWs, the starters usually have an issue. Usually that's only in higher mileage. And it's always a good idea when you're in here doing stuff to go and replace the upper and lower radiator hoses. N52 also has a plastic connector right there. So you can see I've already replaced that. That's all been done. And I think I've already said it about the power steering hoses and then the reservoir, of course. And these do take that Pentacin fluid. So you gotta brace yourself a little bit for that. The most expensive things in this whole car is the Vanos solenoids, which sit right there. These are OEM, and they're still a little funky. Idle on these N52s is not very good usually. Also, the electric water pump and thermostat is another huge expense. The Vanos solenoids are about $350. You have to get OEM ones. Nothing else really works. Then the water pump and thermostat's about $300 for those two items. You have same way. You have to get legit stuff, or it's not gonna turn out good. Same way on this one as the E90. We did all the pulleys and the belt. You don't want to have a tensioner come apart or pulley come apart or the belt come apart. And if it does on these, they have a problem with the belt going down into through the front seal in the case and getting in the bearings and oil pump and basically destroying the engine. This is an all-wheel drive car, so you do have issues a lot of times with the front drive shaft with the U-joint locking up on it. Also, the front CV axles are very sensitive on these cars. They have any wear to them, or you got a cheaper one or anything like that, they will cause vibration and noise. Along with your average rear drive shaft, Guibo bushing, carrier bearing. Geez, I don't mean, it's like gonna be a 4-hour long video. Transmission, usually you don't have any issues as long as you keep the transmission fluid changed about every 40-50,000 miles. 9 times out of 10, if you do that, you're not abusive to the car, it'll hold up. All right, and of course the fuel pump is bad on this one at 92,000 miles. It's squealing like hell. You have to count for that. That's at least a couple hundred bucks for that. Suspension wise, they do eat up sway bar links front and rear pretty quick. You have to get some Febby Bilstein or some OEM or some kind of legitimate brand sway bar links, or they'll click all the time when you're hitting bumps. Also, the front thrust arms like to go bad on these. These do have strut problems where the struts like to leak out and cause issues. We've done all that on this. Rear upper control arms on this one can also go bad. Some guys say the wheel bearings go bad, but I haven't seen that too much. That brings us to the brakes. You notice you got drilled and slotted rotors on here, ceramic pads, and it's all new. The brakes still shake. With E60, they had an issue with that. The brakes have pulsate when you use them a little bit, no matter what you do, no matter what rotors. It's something with the way the control arms are set up. Possibly a solid bushing in the thrust arm might fix that, but that was iffy. This car, if you're on a curvy road, about the third or fourth corner, your brakes are gonna be smoking hot and shaking. You could barely stop. Just was a problem. Next up, cosmetics. The headlights. They have a bad problem with getting condensation in the eyebrows. They have a bad problem with the lenses fogging. They even have a problem on these LCI cars, the lens inside falling out, which you need to take the headlight apart, and then that causes 1,000 other issues. In freezing weather, the little motors that turn the headlights like to bust the gears off, which this one done that. Then you have to code that out. A lot of times on these cars, there's issues with the paint. Issues with the paint on the hood. It's so hot, it's burning me. Issues with the paint on the hood. You can see this one a little bit, it's a little smeary, but the hood is aluminum and they didn't do something right with the primer on it. And everybody keeps telling me, yeah, mine's got the same problem. Paintwork other than that, other than the bugs over the front of this one, not too bad. The inside, the car, got my receipt laying on the seat there. Man, it's hot in there. We put the OEM floor mats in this car. There is problems with the shifter, interlock. If you don't have the software to sort that. Problems with the iDrive, which is the screen on the dash. Going out, man, electronics issues galore in this baby. Not really so much an issue with the window regulators or door handles on this car. They have the better setup on the door handles. Just if you don't have the ISTA Plus software, you pretty much cannot own this car. So many module issues, from the micro power module on the earlier models, from the recalls to the fuse boxes up to 2006, 2005 or 6, to the recall in the trunk where the power wire goes through the floor of the trunk and runs up to the front. There's a bolt there that likes to come loose and cause you to lose power, cause Vanos false codes. Some guys have taillight, LED taillight issues. I haven't had them on this one. Let me see here. I mean, just a constant bombardment of cast module problems. This one had the water in the DME well, so the DME was flooded. Takes a lot of very complex cloning software to make all that work out right again. There's issues with the combi, which is the cluster. It would take me all day to tell you all the... Overall, is it a good car? I like driving the car. It's extremely finicky, extremely expensive, and definitely not a beginner's car. It's not as bad as a 7 Series, but it's close. It's real close. So that's gonna be it, guys. I don't know what else to say on this without rambling on and on and on and on. Hopefully these 60 guys appreciate this video. That's my E60. Well, have a good day. We'll talk to y'all later.